Sarah, welcome to the Daily English Show. Today I recommend a song by Kemp. You've probably never heard of him. I'd never heard of him until the other day when I was listening to one of my favourite podcasts, which isn't really a podcast, it's a radio show that is available as a podcast. It's called Saturday Morning with Kim Hill. Anyway, Kim Hill interviewed Kemp, and it was interesting because, like me, he's a Kiwi who has lived in Tokyo for several years. Well, he's still there. And he told a story about how he got into music and why he decided to move to Japan. And I like his music. He has a really nice voice. You can listen to some of his songs on his site and also on MySpace and YouTube. I recommend a song called Frangipani. Frangipani is a kind of tree that is native to Mexico, Central America and Venezuela, and was named after an Italian guy. It's also called Plumeria after a French guy, and it has many other names. I don't really know what Frangipani has to do with this song. Maybe I missed that part in the interview, or maybe he didn't say it, but he did talk about the inspiration for writing the song. He said that one day when he was in Taupo in New Zealand, he was standing outside a shop and he saw a young girl who was upset and a young boy was comforting her, and he said that there was real wisdom in their conversation, which was beautiful to observe. And then he wrote the song. The song starts like this. When I feel down, the sky looks down on me with a dirty frown. But when I smile, the sun, she shines so bright. The cherry eyes swell, filling up my heart. So little girl, don't you cry, for in your eyes there's a paper god in a redhead sky. Kia ora, in Stick News today, the Accident Compensation Corporation in New Zealand has announced it will stop investing in companies involved in making nuclear weapons.
The Accident Compensation Corporation is a New Zealand Crown entity responsible for administering the Injury Prevention, Rehabilitation and Compensation Act 2001. ACC has announced that it will stop investing in companies involved with the design, testing, assembly and refurbishment of nuclear explosive devices. A spokesperson says that ACC has never knowingly invested in companies that manufacture nuclear weapons, but recently it has become clear that some of the firms they invested in were in fact involved, albeit to a minute extent, with work related to the broader nuclear industry. One example is a firm that is a part owner of another company that managed nuclear-related facilities. Although it is only a tiny proportion of what they do, we are uncomfortable with even this slight level of exposure and are divesting ourselves of any shareholding.
And that was Stick News for Friday, the 11th of April. Kia ora. Today's word is sanctity. This is a word from today's song. The state of being very important and worth protecting and preserving. The example here is sanctity of marriage. Usually when I hear that phrase, the sanctity of marriage, it's in an argument against gay marriage, so I don't really like that example. I wanted to find a good example for sanctity, so I did a search and I found there is a thrash metal band called Sanctity, and Sanctity.com is a company called Sanctity Capital Management, something about money. And in America in 2003, President Bush declared January the 18th National Sanctity of Human Life Day, which is something to do with abortion, which is quite a big issue in North America, I think. So basically I couldn't find any great examples, but I like how Kemp uses it in the song. I think he's saying that friendship is really important and something that is worth protecting and preserving. When I feel alone, oh, my friends come around me and let me know the sanctity of we.
An 8-year-old girl went to her dad, who was working in the garden. She asked him, "Daddy, what is sex?" The father was surprised that she would ask such a question, but decided that if she was old enough to ask the question, then she was old enough to get a straight answer. He proceeded to tell her all about the birds and the bees. When he'd finished explaining, the little girl was looking at him with her mouth hanging open. The father asked her, "Why did you ask this question?" The little girl replied, "Mum told me to tell you that dinner would be ready in a couple of secs."
Do you listen to that show every week? Is it about music? What's a playwright? Oh yeah, play, write. Oh, why is that? Yeah, pretty much. No, it's interviews, but the people she interviews are often musicians or authors, artists, actors, directors, playwrights. Someone who writes plays. Yeah, except it's spelled W-R-I-G-H-T. Because write is an Old English word for craftsperson, I think, so it basically means somebody who crafts plays.
Restore to health or normal life by training and therapy after imprisonment, addiction or illness. A. Injury. B. Prevention. C. Rehabilitate. D. Compensation. E. Act. Rehabilitate. The act of stopping something bad from happening. Prevention. Harm done to a person's or an animal's body, for example in an accident. Injury. Something awarded to compensate for loss, suffering or injury. Compensation. A written ordinance of Parliament, Congress, etc. Act.
And that was the Daily English Show. See you tomorrow. Bye.